All right, beginners, moving on to literature. What is literature? Literature is the best written expression of the best thought. Great job. So what happened last in literature? Do you guys remember? Something with Columbus, and he was leaving Italy where he lives, and he was gonna what? He was gonna drop off goods in England. And then what happened to his ship? Pirates attacked his ship. And did Columbus want to give up his ship? No, he loved his ship. That was his passion, to sail the seas. So he stayed and fought. And what happened to his ship? Let's see. His ship sank. Remember, we left off on a page that looks just like this. Oh, you have that on your book. Well, his ship sank. Everything, his boat, his whatever he had on his ship, his clothes, he had nothing with him except for the clothes on him. All right, so we read all of this right here. So we're gonna finish reading this today, and then we're even gonna read the next page. So let's make sure our pointer finger's ready. I'm gonna go slow so you can repeat after me, or repeat with me. Say it with me, all right? So let's see what happens after his ship sank. Do you think he survived? Let's see. All right. Lucky was Christopher Columbus as he came up from the depths. He saw an oar floating in the water. Do you know what an oar is? That is a big, there it is, a big paddle. So if you were on a little small boat, you'd get this oar and you'd paddle your way to shore. So it's right here in the picture. This is his oar, right here. And look at, he's swimming up to grab it. So what he can probably be floating because it floats. Where was I? Just then the sun set and the darkness hid him from the pirates. Can you imagine? I like the ocean, but I don't like it when I can't see my feet in the ocean. All right, so now imagine being in the ocean and it being dark. That's pretty scary if you ask me. But was that a good thing or a bad thing for him? It was a good thing. Why? Because it hid him from the pirates. So it was a blessing. For me, I would be terrified out of my mind. But for him, it was good luck. All right, so he swam and floated on the oar until he reached the shores. Bleeding and worn, he crawled up on the land, and there on his knees, he thanked the Lord for saving him. He was bleeding and he was worn. What's worn mean? That means he was exhausted. Can you imagine fighting pirates, having your ship sink, and then having to swim up and float on an oar for a long time? That's tiring. All right, his ship and all he owned in the world were at the bottom of the sea. Oh, but in Portugal, no able-bodied seaman needed to beg. So that means he was what? He had nothing. He had no money. He had no clean clothes. But what did it say? It said no able-bodied seaman. That means someone who knows how to work a boat. All right, and able-bodied, that means he still had strength. He was still strong. After his wounds healed, he was strong. He knew how to work a boat, so he was able to what? Get a job. Columbus soon found work on a Portuguese ship and saw that God had arranged everything for the best. You guys see that? Providence. Even though all this terrible stuff happened, the one love he had in the world, which was what? His ship that sank. All right, everything bad that you can imagine happened to his boat. But what? God had meant it for good. All right, there was a blessing in it, and we're gonna see what the blessing was right now. For Portugal in those days, was the biggest sea power in the world. Its captains were sailing their ships even farther to the north and farther to the south to find new lands and new trade routes. So what was Columbus's passion? Was it building a ship? No, it was having a ship so that he can sail across the world. And what was he getting in Portugal? He was getting just that. He was being able to sail across the world. And what? Even farther than what he could imagine. The known world became bigger and bigger. They searched eagerly for the seaway to China and India. And remember, that's where he wanted to go. So people were trying to find a way to China and India, and that's where he had planned to do as well. The rich fairy tale lands of the Far East, where the gates were said to be built of pearls and houses shingled with gold. For the captain who would find a way to these shores would return his ships loaded with fragrant spices and treasures of the East, would be the richest and mightiest seaman in the world. So what? People wanted to go to India and China because why? They heard that their floors had pearls and their buildings were made of gold. And they said, what? If a man were to sail to India and China and pick up their fragrant spices and pick up treasures from the East and bring it back, people would pay a lot of money. So he would be a very rich man. Let's go ahead and turn the page. Now we're on a page that looks like this. All right, I see Christopher Columbus here, another man here, a world globe. All right, it looks much different than our globe. That's probably because they didn't know what the globe looked like yet. So let's find out. All right, up here at the top, Christopher sailed north and south on Portuguese ships. He learned much, and again, he rose fast in his ranks. So he was very smart. Portugal was a country after his heart. That means he loved it. He soon spoke the language like a native. That means if he spoke the language like a native, did he know it okay, or did he know it very well? He knew the language very, very well. He soon spoke the language like a native. And when he married a lady from Madeira, he was looked upon as a Portuguese. She was a lady of high birth. Columbus was a handsome man with a steady bearing. He looked like a nobleman. And before long, he was considered by everybody, a Portuguese gentleman of the sea. Soon, he even forgot that he was only the son of a humble weaver, but he did not forget to provide well for his old father, and he sent for his 2 younger brothers to come and to make their fortunes in Portugal too. So what? He fit into Portugal's perfect. He loved the country. He got married to a woman from Portugal. He learned the language, but was he from Portuguese? No, he was from where? Italy. So he sent that means he sent someone on a ship to go get who? His brothers to what? To move there with him to make a fortune for themselves. Because remember, was he rich in Italy? No, he wasn't. In Portugal, no one doubted that the world was round. So remember, in Italy, the boys would make fun of him because Columbus would say, I think the world is round. And they're like, you're crazy. The world's flat. It's not round. And people would make fun of him, and he didn't like that. But in Portugal, no one doubted that the world was round. Everyone in Portugal thought that the world was round. Map makers and geographers, we're studying geography, sat in their shops making globes, just like this one right here, in different sizes and shapes. Some of them were shaped like pears, and others were oblong like eggs. These were shaped like eggs. Still, others were round like balls. Columbus eagerly studied all these globes. As he studied them, he was struck by a new thought. Since the world was round, and east and west must meet somewhere, maybe he could sail west and reach the east. But maybe the Atlantic Ocean was too vast to be crossed. And were there winds out in the sea to fill the sails of the ships? And were there really lands on the other side? By his own free will, no sailor has yet sailed out beyond the last outlying islands and rocks. But there were rumors of sailors carried off by storms who had sighted lands far, far from the west. Whenever Columbus sailed, he listened to the stories of the Atlantic Ocean. All right, and we're gonna stop there for today. Remember the word Atlantic Ocean. Say Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic Ocean. Because next week in geography, before we have our literature class, we're gonna study a little bit about that. All right. So, what happened? He loved Portugal. After his ship sank, he knew that God had his providence there. He landed in Portuguese safely. He got married. He settled down. He loved this new land. And then what happened? He found out that people thought the same as him. They thought the earth was round. And on top of that, what? They wanted to find a way to India and China, just like him. All right, so you should have a page that looks like this right here. All right, and it is literature number 8. Europeans wanted what? Spices, cloth, and other goods from India and China. Sea captains were searching for a pathway by waters to the Indies. So they were what? They had their maps. That's why he had the picture there with the man with the map. And they're like, maybe if we sail this way and this way, we'd get to where? India or China. They couldn't figure out how to do it yet. All right, so here we have a picture of an Indian woman right here. And she has a whole bunch of spices on the floor with her. If you look closely, let me show you on the map where India is at really fast. All right, so we're traveling to our geography page. All right, so we are where on our map? We are right here in the United States, and Columbus is where? He's in India, and Italy. And what happened? He came over here. He's in Portugal now. So I'm sorry, let me zoom in for you. He's in Portugal, right here, this little place. And they want to go where? To India and to China. So China is this place right here. This whole pink area is China. And India is this place right here. So he has a couple of options. Now he's not going to travel on land, but he can probably what? Go back this way and sail over here to India and then go to China. He can go probably all the way around over here and do the same. He can go from the top and do the same. There is many different ways for him to go about sailing to India and China. All right, so here we have a picture of an Indian woman selling spices. All right, and then here we have a piece of fabric with a Chinese pattern on it. All right, we have some more spices, and then we have some more different shoes and cloths from China. So your first answer, oh look, I'm sorry, I forgot really fast. Silly me. We have a spice right here called allspice, and we have a root right here that's called ginger, and if you smell it, you can still smell a little bit of it. All right, these are some spices that they would go and take. Right here you can see a little bit of that ginger in this picture right here, right, the ginger. All right, and right here I think we have some of the allspice, it looks like, I'm not quite sure. So they wanted to go what? They wanted to get spices and different treasures that they can find and bring it back to become rich men. All right, so our first answer for the line right here, we're gonna write India, just like that. India. All right, and then down here we're gonna write where? Where else did they want to go? China. Great job. So we're gonna write China. Excellent job. So that was pretty much it. We just read a lot today, and we just wrote 2 little answers. Group A, you can trace the words very well. All right, do your best handwriting. I will see you guys next week for literature. Not next week, what am I talking about? You guys have literature on Friday, so I will see you guys again in another literature video on Friday. Great job.